Welcome to another video. In today's video, I am so excited to show you these crystal candles that I made, and I am obsessed with these. Like, can you tell? Let's jump right in.
So you have probably seen these molds on my channel previously, and I'm actually pouring into these. You could essentially do this in any mold of your choice, but basically what you want to do is make a container for your candle. So it could be a jar, it could be all sorts. Also, I apologize for the way I'm sounding. I am under the weather at the time of this voiceover, and so I have the sniffles, and yeah, so that's fun. But anyway, moving on. So I'm going to be using resin-crete, and if you're not familiar with this product, it's essentially an eco resin. Really easy to use, and the mixing ratio is 30 ml of liquid, which is just water, for 100 grams of the powder of resin-crete. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix them up. I'm not entirely sure how much I need for these, but I will mix some more if I need to. And I will link this product along with my discount code in the description below. So for this, I want to keep the containers for the candles white, so I'm not adding any pigment, and I'm going with the natural color of the resin-crete. Of course, you could do this any way you want, and I'm just going to keep it white on this occasion.
46 minutes later.
Okay, so it's been about 45 minutes. These are now cured, time to unmold, and I'm happy with the way these have turned out, so we can move on to the next step. Okay, so for the actual wax crystals, I'm going to be using this mold. This is a crystal mold from the start. Once again, I will link it in the description. And essentially what I'm going to do is melt some wax. I have some soy wax, and I'm going to melt some of it. And once that's done, I will take a tiny amount out into a cup and start to add some of my candle dyes. What I'm trying to achieve by doing this is sort of give the crystal wax sort of like an ombre look. Like I want these to be different shades so that you get the sort of crystal effect. So I've gone and chosen a few colors. I'm going for sort of yellows, oranges, and a hint of gray. And I'm going light to dark on this occasion and just adding a little bit of wax, a little bit of pigment, and sort of pouring them in. I honestly do not know how this is going to turn out and if this is going to work, but that's what we do here. I do the experiments, so you don't have to, and we can both learn from them. So fingers crossed. Once again, I'm just going to fill these up top and leave the wax to harden. Okay, so my wax is now set. It's time to unmold, and as you can see already, I am breaking these as I'm trying to unmold these. So I'm thinking that shouldn't be too much of an issue, because when it comes to the placement of crystals, I mean, there's no right or wrong with the shape of crystals anyway, so I don't think it matters if some of these are broken. So that's what's going on in my head, and at that point I'm just going for it. So I'm just getting them out, and I'm not fussed if they are breaking, because I'm pretty sure they are going to break while unmolding. So let's just go for it. Let's just get them out, and we can kind of sort of place them and piece them together. So happy with how they're looking. I did get the kind of shading and depth of color that I was going for with my little wax mixing technique. I mean, that's a fancy word of calling what I just did there, but let's call it that. So yeah, so happy with that. I'm gonna get all of these out, and then we can move on to the next step. Okay, so my next step, now that I have all of these out, is to get my resin-crete sealed, and I'm using this wax sealer for this purpose. I'm gonna go ahead and rub some of it on and then kind of let it soak essentially, and then wipe the excess off. And I'm going to do this on the inside and outside of both these molds. At this point, if you are enjoying this kind of content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and click that notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. And I want to say a massive thank you to all of you that already do those things. It really helps and supports my channel. Okay, so these are now sealed. Time to create the candles. And I have some candle making kits from a DIY kit that I just got off of Amazon. So I'm gonna be using these wooden wicks for these just because I think they look nicer. But again, you could use the normal wicks. And I'm going to place one in the center for the little one, and I'm probably going to do 2 or 3 for the bigger one. And then it's time to melt your wax, and I am going with the natural color of the soy wax. I haven't added any tint to it because I do want the crystals to be the focal point, but I did add my favorite fragrance to it. And yes, I'm just gonna pour the wax in. One tip that I have learned on the way of making these candles is to make sure that you heat up your candle vessel with a heat gun or something before you pour the wax in. Because if your candle container is cold and your wax is hot, as the wax starts to solidify, you might find that it pulls away from the container and you don't get a pretty finish. So yeah, just a thought. Okay, so my wax is now set. I've cut the wicks down and it is time to fix these crystals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have these bunched up in a corner, and I'm going to heat up the wax slightly in that corner with my heat gun so that I get a layer of melted wax where I can then essentially start to put down my crystals. So this sticks to the wax in the mold. And once again, there's no right or wrong way of doing this. I'm just placing the crystals the way I sort of like them to look aesthetically, and I'm just sort of starting with the bigger pieces and then filling in the gaps for the little ones. Okay, and I am happy with the way these are looking. Absolutely love these. Now you will notice that there is that slight wrinkly effect on my candle, and I think this is because of just the temperatures of the room where I had the wax cooling down. But this is no big deal because afterwards I can just go over with a nice thin layer of hot wax, and hopefully that should sort this out. Let me know what you think of this project. I absolutely love how this turned out. I mean, there's so many possibilities to this. So leave me a comment and let me know what you think, and let me know if you've tried this. And I shall see you in the next video. Bye!